Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today we are going to part 2 of this multi-span truss creation. Welcome once again, and let's get started right away. Now, today we are going to start by bracing our trusses. To do that, it's quite simple. Go straight to Applications and Component button here and click on this. Then we type bracing here. Just type brace and just click inside this box, and these macros will come up. The system will try to predict the word you're trying to type and bring forward a variety of macro that starts with the similar words that we've just typed here. Now, instead of completing the whole word, all the words, just click inside and scroll down if you can find the macro that you're looking for. We'll scroll down, and this is what you're looking for. I'll click on this. First of all, double click on it to access the dialog box for this macro. Here it is. And fortunately, we have the settings already in place. I'll just load the settings. I'll click on that, then load the settings. I can share with you the settings here. You can check that direction and calculations of levels here, and the parts RSA 50 by 50 by 3 millimeter thick. Compression bar we don't need. The joints just leave on default. Joint direction just leave it at default. We'll come back to pictures, and we'll just go ahead and apply this. After clicking load the settings, we'll come here and apply and click modify, apply, and accept everything right there. Once that has been done, we want to click on the top chord here on this truss and click a top chord on this truss. But you will realize that the moment I mouse over this truss, everything gets selected, which is not right. What we'll do now is to disable the assembly by switching off the assembly button. Now we'll click on this to disassemble or to disable the assembly. Now, if you mouse over this, you can see it is selecting the individual parts. Now we want to place our bracings on this top chord and this top chord. To do that, it's quite simple. Just click on this and this, and give it time to load the settings. We have our bracing in place. Here it is. Here it is. And prior to going to connection, we'll just go ahead and place the same on this end. Click on that and click on this also. Perfect. I'll right click and click interrupt to exit from that command. Now the next step is now to connect these braces to our top chord of each truss. I'll use this connection here, numerically known as bolted gusset. Is known as number 11, numerically known as number 11. I'll click on that. Once I've done that, I'll come all the way here and start connecting this and that, while the assembly is a connection has been created, but not that perfect. Now we need to combo this, slightly combo this, but you notice that when I mouse over this, you can see I'm selecting individual members. I'm able to select the plate itself, and that will not be good. I'll come back and enable the assembly so that when I make changes, it affects all the members under this connection. Now let me just double click on that for me to access the window for this macro. Here it is. Here it is, and I'll go straight and close this. Let me close that and scroll this to this position so that I can be able to see this clearly. Now the first thing I want to do, I want to change the thickness of this, and a gusset, I want to change this to 6mm thick plate. I'll go ahead and click modify and see if it will accept the changes I'm putting in. Perfect, it has accepted. Now what do? We don't need these 4 bolts. We only need only 2 bolts in a row, and we'll come to the first bolt brace here and pick on M16, and the bolt standard will pick on 8.8 XOX. I will give some washer for our bolts. We'll try and come here and click modify to see whether the changes we've placed will be implemented. They have been implemented, and what we want on this end, we just need a bolt. We don't need 4 of them. Just click modify and see if the changes will be taken into effect or will take effect immediately. There it is. It has accepted our changes here. We'll do the same thing so that we don't do this repeatedly, and here we'll feed M16, and also here change this bolt standard to 8.8 XOX, and we'll give that washer, and at this end we just need 1. The one I'm feeding here is for this space, and this space to be just 1. Center to center be 1. We don't need any measurement there, center to center, so it will be rounded off to 1 row. I'll go ahead and click modify that and wait for the changes to take effect. There it is, and I'll go to the next connection. Now we'll be connecting this cord to these 2 braces. I'll come back to applications and component here and pick on this, and first of all disable the assembly. Now I'll be able to pick on these these 3 members and press my middle button on the mouse, and you can see that already created. I'll right click, I'll click on empty screen, right click, and come to perfect. I'll go ahead and do the same thing this end. I'll come here and do exactly the same thing. Click on that, and press my middle button on the mouse, and my connection will be created. I'll come here and do the same thing. I want to connect this to this, and press my middle button on the mouse, and my connection has been created. So let me first of all clear away these brace connections and come back to the central brace. Let me connect that to that, and press my middle button on the mouse, and come all the way here and do the same thing. I want to connect that to that, and also I'll come all the way to this end and do exactly the same thing. I want to connect these 2 braces to the top cord of these trusses. Let me come back here and do the same thing. First of all, let me turn this round so that you can see exactly what we are trying to do. I want to connect this to that. I'll press my middle button on the mouse for the connection to be created. I want to connect this to that, and press my middle button on the mouse to create that connection. Click that to that, and press my middle button on the mouse, and the connection will be created perfectly well. Click, right click, and redraw to refresh everything. Once that has been done, now we want to create a central plate that will be connecting these 4 members at the center here. I'll use a central, just type central plate. We'll pick central gusset plate here. We'll click on that, and we'll pick on these 4 members and press a middle button on the mouse, and now we'll double click on these so that we can adjust the settings of this connection. We'll come to the brace, the first one. We want to work with the M16, and that bolt standard, and click on that. Enable the washers. You just need we'll undo that. Now once we've double clicked on that, we'll be able to access the central gusset plate window, and we'll be able to customize our connection. In that place, I'll pick M16. I'll give it that bolt standard, or bolt standard. I'll include that. And how many bolts do we need? We just need 2 of that, and come here and click modify, and see the changes taking effect. That's okay, and I'll click apply, and give it an okay right there. I'll zoom out and continue doing the same thing. I want to connect these 4 braces. I'll click all of them. Then after clicking everything, then press the middle button on the mouse, then move to the next one here. Click this, that, and this, and press the middle button on the mouse to allow the connection to be created. Now we'll go to the next one. Just zoom out, and we'll select on this, that, this, and that. Press the middle button on the mouse for connection to be created. That's it. Now we'll right click on the screen, then click redraw to refresh everything, so that we move to the next step. Now let me just press Ctrl while holding my middle button on the mouse and turn this round. Turn that round, and what we want to do right now is to copy these to the rest of the trusses. Now I'll press Ctrl. First of all, I'll bring back the assembly and select on these braces and pick on that also. Then I'll come back and pick on these connections. I'll pick on that and pick on that, and come all the way and pick on that. We want to pick everything. We'll not leave anything unselected, anything that we intend to copy on the other end. We'll press Ctrl and select that, and we'll zoom close to this end and pick on that. But unfortunately, we did not create a connection at that end. But you have the idea how to do that, then we'll just select everything, and that connection will be created once it has been copied on the other end. Let me just zoom out and in to select all these plates. Just zoom out. Even this side we've not connected, but that should not be a big worry, because you've now taken in the concept on how to do this. Let me just press Ctrl and select all that. The key point here is how to get this done perfectly. And press Ctrl and pick on this and pick on that. And I'll pick on that also. Now once this has been done, what I'll do now, I'll just right click and come to copy here. I'll pick on copy, and I want to copy it from this point, from that spot, and zoom out, and I want to copy it on that spot. And I need another one, this end. I need another one at this point, and another one at this point. Perfect. And we're done with that. We're done with that. We'll right click and come to interrupt, and right click once again. that has been done. Let me close that for now, and I'll turn this round by pressing Control while holding my milled button on the mouse here. Now if I bring you close to this, you can see the connection has not been created perfect here. We'll come back there and create this connection while disabling the assembly. Click on that and connect all this. Press the middle button on the mouse and the connection will be created. That, this and that. Create a connection. The rest we can leave. Click on that and this, that and that, and press the middle button on the mouse. We'll select on that and this, and press the middle button on the mouse. Right click and click interrupt. We'll come back to this macro 11, number 11, and we want to create connections here, the ones that we left, so that we can complete the connection here. Just bring it close and click on that and that, and press my middle button on the mouse, and we create a connection right there. And we can do the same thing here, that and that, and a connection has been created, that has been connected. Click that and that to create a connection right there, and come all the way and do the same thing this end. I'll pick on the top chord and pick on these two braces, and after selecting all of them, go ahead and press your middle button on the mouse to create the connection. Do that and press the middle button on the mouse. The connection has been created, and do the same thing here, like that. Select on that also to create connection. I'll pick on that and that, and the connection has been created. I'll pick on that also, and pick on this also, and zoom out and target this bottom end here, so that we create a connection. We connect the braces and the top chord of these trusses. Perfect. This is what we wanted to do, and there's one connection we left out here. We can connect that. You can zoom out and come all the way to this end. We left out this, and we can connect that one to that top chord. We left out this one also. Connect that and that. Perfect. Now we can close down that, and this we want to copy this. We'll switch back to the top view. I mean the plan view, or the top view of this truss, and we want to copy all this. We want to copy all this. Press Control that, press Control and select all this. Press Control and let's select on all this. Let's press Control and select on all this. Select on that. Press Control and select on that. Just zoom out. Just zoom out. And we'll select on this one. Perfect. Let's switch back to our isometric view. Now what we want to do, we'll right click here, we'll right click and come to copy, and we'll copy this from this point. Let's just zoom out. We'll copy this from that spot and place other bracings on that spot. We'll give it some time to load our settings. One, I will place bracings right on that spot. Copied. Now we'll jump and place one there. Copy it on that spot. That has been copied. We'll jump and place another one here. Perfect. That has been copied. I'll right click and come to interrupt just to exit that copy command. Then I'll right click once again and redraw to refresh everything, or to refresh our model. Perfect. You can see this. We have the bracings well placed. Here are our bracings in place and well connected. I can bring this close so that you can have a clear look. You can see the bracings. Let me just bring them close. You can see that not connected, but you shouldn't worry about that. You now have the idea of how to do this. Perfect. Now the next move, we want to start placing our purlins. Now to place the purlins, we'll use 1.2 center to center between our purlins. I'll come to work plane tool first. I want to define the direction in which we want our purlins to follow. I'll come to work plane tool, then just mouse over this truss and just click on it. The work plane tool will take the slope of our truss, and once that has been done, I'll come to steel here and start placing my purlins. I'll click on that drop down arrow under beam and pick on the beam, then zoom close and snap at the center of this. Then zoom out, just zoom out and move all the way to this end and snap right here. You snap at the center right there. Right click and click interrupt to exit. You can see the default steel member. It is a universal beam. We want to change this to the Z profile or Z profile. We'll double click on it, then come all the way under attributes tab, then click this button opposite the profile. This will take us straight to the profile catalog, and we will be able to pick on the appropriate profile from the steel catalog. I'll click on that. Now inside the profile catalog, let me just first of all minimize that and minimize this once again. Let me just minimize that. I'll come to steel sections here. I'll click that plus sign, then come to Z sections here, click on that, then click this plus sign. I'll pick on the first option. There's the SSL Z140 by 15 by 15. That's okay, we can work with that. I'll click apply and accept that selection. Then the profile catalog will disappear. Then we remain with this beam properties dialog box. Come here and click and accept the modification here by clicking the modify button here. We'll apply and give an acceptance by clicking an OK button. And prior to clicking that, you can see our Z profile is still way below the targeted position. We want it to sit on top of this top chord of our truss. To do that, to shift it to that position, we'll click on this position tab, then come to depth here and click front and give it an OK. It will shift up to the top end. Click apply and accept that. Then we want to rotate this using mouse. Click on view and click and navigate. We'll pick on the first option, rotate with mouse, then pick on the point to rotate this model about. We'll rotate it about the spot we are seeing here. You can see a circle here, so this defines our rotation point. Click on that and press left press your mouse and hold, then move your mouse. You'll be able to turn that around comfortably. That has been created, and we want to offset it slightly up because we want it to create a space for our cleat to connect it to our top chord of our truss. The way it sits now, it's sitting right to the very end of our overhang, and we will not allow that. We want to shift it slightly up by 200 millimeter. I'll right click and come to special move here and click linear. Then under x-axis, you can see our x-axis is pointing up, and we want to move it up by 200. Then we'll click move. It will move up by 200. On the same position, we want to populate several of these on top of these trusses. I'll right click and come to special copy once again here, then click linear. Then the same axis of x-axis, we'll type the interval dimension. We want to populate this at center of 1.2 center to center of the purlins. I'll feed in 1.2 meters, and we want 6 of these on top of that, on top of our trusses. I'll go ahead and click OK. I'll give it an acceptance there by clicking OK. Then zoom out and check what have been done. We have an excess of 1. We can delete that 1, and we remain with this. Now, what we want to do now, we want to populate this all the way to the far end. The full length of our building is 60 meters. Prior to populating this, we want to mirror this the other end, and to do that, we want to change our XYZ axis. To change our XYZ axis, we'll come to view, then come to work plane, then pick on work plane tool. We want to use this point as our mirror line, and we'll go ahead and select on all these. We'll select on all this, select all this, then we'll right click and come to special copy. We'll pick on mirror, and we'll go to a point where that will define the middle point or a mirror line. We'll use the center of this as our mirror line. We'll snap on that spot and run all the way to the bottom end here and snap right here. This is defining the mirror line for the copy command. I'll go ahead and click copy and click OK to accept what we've just done. Now I'll select on this. I'll select on all these. Let me just bring close, bring them close, bring them close. I want to select that. that, and this. We just select all these, pick on that, pick on this and that. Now once those have been selected, I'll come to copy, and I want to copy them all the way to the far end. I'll click on that and copy that one right there, and copy that one right there, and copy that, and copy this one right here. It's complete. I right click and exit that. And when I come to navigate and rotate this, you can see what we've done. It's perfect. Now, one thing remaining is to populate this to the full length of our structure. We'll select all these, press Ctrl and select all these purlins. We'll select all these purlins while pressing Ctrl button. Select all this, select all that, select that, zoom out and pick on this, pick on that. I'll pick on that also, I'll pick on this. And keenly pick on this, pick on that, select that, select that, select that, select that one. Zoom out and I'll pick on that while pressing the Control button. Just zoom out. This is the final one, and we'll pick on that, pick on that, and pick on that. Select this, select that, and select that one, and select that one also. We'll pick on that, press Control and select on all this. Once that has been done, we want to populate this along the z-axis, because it is now z-axis, because the position of our XYZ plane has changed. Our XYZ plane. I'll right click and come to special copy here, pick on linear, and I'll change the x-axis to 0 and come to z-axis and feed 6 meter center to center. And how many do I want? I want 10 of these, or 9 of this, 9 of that, and click copy. First of all, have to check the direction of the z-axis. We are moving on the opposite direction of the z-axis. I'll click copy. Perfect. I'll click OK. And prior to deactivating the selection, first of all, I'll zoom out and check whether everything has been placed in the right position. Perfect. All the purlins have been completed, or have been copied to the last dimension. Let me just turn this round by clicking on navigate by mouse, or you can as well press Control while holding the middle button on the mouse. I'll turn that round, and you can have a look at that. If I switch back to the top view, you can see the purlins are in place. Our purlins are in place. Perfect. Let me just switch back to isometric view. Don't forget to save your work. We'll save our work right there and give you time to save. by pressing the control button and while holding the build button on the mouse. The cleats now, it's something simple to place. I'll just do one, and the rest you can do, because the key point is how to do it, and I'll just show you just that. I'll come to applications and component here, and I'll press one. I want to use a macro called rolled overlap. I'll pick on this. I'll double click on it to access its window. I wanted this to enable my navigation over this cleat macro. Now I can come back and double click on it. I'll load in my settings by clicking load right there. Then I'll try to move up and accept the setting, and accept the settings right there, and give it an OK. Now I want to create the connection between these three. I'll click on that, and this, and press my middle button on the mouse, and a connection will be created. And that will not work well because the position of our XYZ plane is not right. We'll take it back to its position. We'll click on work plane tool and bring it down here right there, and come back and invoke that connection. And I'll zoom out and bring this close so that we can create a connection here between these 2 points, between these 2 members. That is the cleat we have created, and we can populate that all the way to the top end. We can come here and change our XYZ plane, then pick on this, pick on that, right click and come to spatial copy. Then we'll populate that at that distance of 1.2. How many do we want? We want 6 of that, and click copy. Click OK, and right click and click interrupt to exit from that connection. You can see that it has been placed. So you can do the same thing all the way in. Now what I've just done here, you can now populate. Let me just bring this assembly and select on that, and also select on this, and also select on that. Pick on that one, go all the way to the other end and pick on that, and pick on this one also, pick on that. Then we want to populate this along the length of our structure. I'll right click and come to spatial copy right here. After right clicking, I'll come to spatial copy and click linear. Then I'll come to the y-axis. I'll change this to 0, the x-axis to 0. Then come here and feed 6 meters in the opposite direction, and we need 9 of this. We need 10 of this. We'll feed that and click copy. Perfect. Come here and click OK, right click and interrupt, and this is what we have. Right click and redraw. All the cleats has been distributed along the full length of our structure. Press Ctrl and turn this round. You can see that. Well connected. You can check the joint. You can rush to the far end and check whether the connection is complete. Here it is. Now from this spot we'll wind up, and great thanks for watching this channel, and Let's meet on the next presentation. And bye bye, I'm Morris Dimba, and let's meet then.